Was it just a dream? Maybe it was some strange quantum reality, or maybe it was all the beer. But for a second I felt as if I lived a whole nother life, apart from my Northtown, Kenton upbringing. Like I belonged here. Like I was some scrappy old First Ward kid, raised on corned beef, Guinness, and Jimmy Griffin. But I didn't grow up here. In fact, this place is more like a strange blackout in my all things Buffalo bag of tricks. All my life, I've clung to the wrong-headed notion that most of the cool stuff was on the north side of Buffalo. But I was dead wrong. How did I miss it? How did I come to assume that South Buffalo, and the old First Ward in particular, was really one extended homage to Buffalo's past? Even if it was true, and it isn't, what's so wrong with the past? As if Dave & Buster's and the Olive Garden make modernity the place to be on the reality dial. Maybe Buffalo, maybe America, peaked in an industrial zenith 100 years ago. I hope not, but maybe, just maybe, we can remember what was truly great about the past and write it into the Buffalo script here and now, and cast it into the future. Sans Jimmy Griffin, but that's just my preference. Hey, I'm Nelson Starr, Buffalo rock and roll raconteur and food fanatic. Follow me backstage and into the kitchen to learn the secrets behind our very own Buffalo food scene. This is your all-access pass. Okay, some people love Jimmy Griffin, but I love Gene McCarthy. Gene McCarthy's, that is. Gene McCarthy's is a place where you can walk in and right away feel a palpable sense that you are stepping back in time.
He whistled and he sang through the green woods land, and he won the hearts of the lake. Hey, hey, hey.
This is the classic Irish-American food canon proudly on display, until it's washed down with a proper pint. Or three. Current owner Gerhard Yaskow takes pride in the history of a place he bought out only a few years ago.
Your patrons seem like completely enthused, like they've come home after a long trip or something.
Well said, actually, Nelson. They've come home. The old First Ward is the cradle of the Irish community, so people come back to experience the nostalgia of the past. McCarthy's is the place. It's a seat of culture. That's what people say all the time.
Let me sing that. He whistled and he sang through the green woods land, and he won the hearts of the lake. Hey, hey, hey.
Wow, that looks great. That looks so
Look at
awesome.
this. Look at this. Wow.
Is there enough meat on here? Look at that's pretty good, I'd have to say. We have a Reuben, we have corned beef and cabbage, we have a beef on weck with their homemade Kimmelweck roll. All right, I'm gonna make a mess.
There you go. You're allowed to. You get a papal dispensation if you make a mess here.
That's tender, it's delicious.
Fair and Adria, this ain't, but it's rib sticking and honest in a way that the best asparagus foam never can be.
He was sometimes asked to make them smaller, and every time he was asked to make the sandwich a little smaller, he would make the sandwich a little larger. So you're dealing with probably at least a pound of good, freshly sliced roast beef.
McCarthy's transcends the simple bliss that is meat and potatoes, because it is so much more than even a great food joint. McCarthy's is all that a pub should be. A neighborhood place where everyone seems to know each other, where they can meet for some fine food, great Guinness, good conversation, and endless laughter. Is this place like this all the time? Well, no, you see, it's approaching St. Paddy's Day. Almost like a reflex, the community instinctively gathers at Gene McCarthy's. Members of the Irish Center, the parade marshals, civic leaders, a leprechaun or two. Gerhard, just when things are getting fun, he wants to show me the basement. I don't know.
This is where they keep the kegs.
And the way beer is actually brought down is actually through a chute. The chute opens up. Let there be light. The kegs are dropped down onto the tire. They're rolled and roll your boat.
For the love of St. Patrick, this Gerhard guy's got me lumping brisket.
Come on.
Oh, the meat. Yeah. That's actually going right upstairs now. These are one of those beef briskets that we were talking about.
No, Gerhard, I have money. I can pay for my meal. The next thing you know, they'll have me playing reels on the piano or something. And here we go. McCarthy.
We're toasting and drinking it down, toasting and drinking it down, toast your friends. May y'all
As I leave the emerald jewel that is Gene McCarthy's, I feel cleansed of the muck and irony that is modernity's cheap novelty act. I step out into the daylight reborn, or at least regifted. If this is the past, it's alive and kicking into a future I can gladly live with. In Buffalo, the question often arises, who has the best fish fry in town? Well, according to our viewers at TrueBlueBuffalo.com, the answer is clear: Swanee House. That's right, in our poll at True Blue Buffalo, the bar, the restaurant known as Swanee House, came out way on top. As I enter Swanee House, I'm a bit surprised at how small it seems, and above all else, what a rockin' bar it is. Soon I meet Margot Kowal. Heck, she seems so nice. But still, the question is, will her fish fry stand up to all the hype? I remember I'm meeting my fellow True Blue Buffalo network personality and all-around controversial shit stirrer, Tim Thielman. Damn, I wish I could be as controversial as this guy. He's got people ready to track him down with blackjacks over some of the reviews he's written about some Buffalo landmarks.
This is a historic local landmark. Yes, it is. It dates to the 1890s. It is the last bar in the city of Buffalo that's part of the saloon boss labor system. Eventually, they rebelled. There was a huge strike because if these guys had families, they would be compelled to either drink beer or feed their families. So that, of course, wasn't a good situation.
Well, that's a bad conflict. That's a bad conflict of interest because everyone knows we'd rather drink beer.
Of course.
Anyway, Tim's take on just about everything is informed, if not a bit twisted. Soon the two of us are upstairs. Margot arrives with the food payload. So Margot and her staff have pulled out all the stops. It does look great, but I'm here to see if this fish fry is the bomb or if it just plain bombs.
Oh, that looks great.
Okay, so this fish fry is definitely at the top of my food pyramid.
Now I know why the people at the poll were kind of getting rabid about how good this fish fry is. Let's face it, most of the fish that you're going to get in these fish fries is probably sourced, similarly. A lot of it's really just how it's cooked in the fryer and the kind of batter they're going to do, and how that actually comes out. I mean, this is a crispy, almost tempura type finish to it. It's really nice.
Margot's technique is obviously perfected, as the key indicator, the batter crust, is just to die for. And yes, this is a huge hunk of quality haddock. I'm thinking we should definitely check this fish for steroids. According to Tim, the fish fry led to the discovery of the New World. Okay.
Not only during all of Lent, but every Friday throughout the year, people would eat fish. So that created a market for fish, and that created fishermen who would venture ever further out into the ocean, and that led directly to Icelanders and Norsemen discovering North America.
So, I mean, but isn't fish really a meat? It's a protein. I mean, why isn't fish a meat? Come on, tell me that one.
It
Mr.
swims,
Smarty
it
Pants.
has fins, and it has eyes on opposite sides of its head. I think that qualifies it as a non-meat.
So it doesn't have hooves, therefore it's not meat.
Correct.
Okay.
So maybe
No, I
Tim's
get it.
logic here is convoluted to say the least, but I see what he's getting at. Apart from the piece de resistance, the other items, each and every one, are done incredibly well. The key that unites this humble but great food with the highest echelon gastronomy is that both, to be truly great, need to be prepared with, as food writers call it, love. When you eat Margot's food, you just know it emanates a kind of incredible thoughtfulness, caring, and pride. Whether anyone can objectively claim the best fish fry or anything else is a bit dubious to me, but in the end, I would go out on a limb and say that Swanee House has a fish fry that is among the very, very best. It's certainly hard to imagine one better, and the rest of the food is equally stunning. Everyone loves a parade, except me. Even as a young kid, I thought they were pretty darn boring. I never got what was so fun about watching a bunch of dudes in kilts march up and down a street half in the bag, except for the telling of the what's under the kilt jokes. Those crack me up. But okay, we're off to cover the St. Patrick's Day Parade. Or are we? For those more northbound Western New Yorkers like me, We might never have heard of the Valley Old Neighborhood Parade. Isn't the parade the one that goes down Delaware Avenue? No. The real parade, as it is also called, is held in the Old First Ward, and it starts in a district section of it, the neighborhood known as the Valley. Kicking it off at the Valley Community Association, the Old Neighborhood Parade is a lot more people-friendly and certainly more a part of the fabric of the Old First Ward, the heart of Buffalo's Irish-American community till this day.
We're ready to roll.
It's great to watch a parade that means so much to the people who are a part of the community it celebrates. It's even better to watch a parade and drink some of the finest craft beer and microbrews in the country. Welcoming me to the Valley Parade is a relatively new transplant to the Old First Ward, and someone whose entrepreneurial spirit is bringing new energy to the neighborhood, Bill Metzger. Bill and his friends are relaxing watching the floats go by on a gorgeous early spring day. The beer of choice today seems to be some quite fruity and surprisingly non-bitter India Pale Ales.
IPA stands for India Pale Ale, and it was typically an English beer. It was really a pale ale that was really hopped up because it was sent around the Horn of Africa.
Bill is quite the eloquent beer spokesman as he publishes a national magazine, Great Lakes Brewing News. Actually, it's 4 regional magazines that give you the lowdown on each region's craft beer and the culture thereof, right from his office in this historic Old First Ward building.
It's a national publication, right?
That's right. Also, we do some coverage of Canada.
Bill is a real gentleman and the kind of generous soul I've seen down here over and over. What is it about this place that seems to allow people to be themselves, to abandon pretense and self-importance, and to embrace the values of community, family, and tradition? All the things that hold us together in this sometimes mess of a world. Maybe it's in the water. Nah, it's in the beer. Whatever it is, it's evident that regardless of how we try to hold on to the past, things change. The future happens. But is there a real future for the Old First Ward, Buffalo, and beyond? Well, yes, of course. But will it be one of reckless, unbridled development, devoid of any continuity with the past, and before long, ignorant of the grand history that it has been clumsily erected atop of? I hope not. Whatever rationalizations our all too human minds hold as true, the real truth is that, yes, the past is prologue. We need the past, an appreciation of it, and a respect for it, in order to make the future a truly habitable place, where real human beings can live, love, and even cook without feeling rudderless, uprooted, and without identity. We need to know who we are, where we come from, what we eat, drink, and amuse ourselves with, and what we hold dear, if we are to know just where we're going. I'll be going for a pint in the Old First Ward. Care to join me?